Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we get real.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, happiness specialist, Rebecca L. Norrington. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Hello, new listeners. Hello, new listeners. Woo, I don't know how everyone's finding the show, but I get a little handful of listeners every week, new listeners. So thank you and welcome. Reality Spirituality, happiness specialist. What? Who the hell is Rebecca L. Norrington? And what makes, how does she, now I'm stuttering. Who dubbed her happiness specialist anyway? That's a good question. I gave myself that label, and the reason why is because when I was younger, I wanted two things. I wanted to live to my potential, and I wanted to be happy. And when I want something, I'm serious about it. I'm serious about it. And this happiness search, this journey on the search for happiness and wanting to experience more happiness is never ending. Never ending. There's always something new to learn, and there's always something new to practice. You will never get bored. I promise you that. When I say happiness specialist, what that means is I share with as many people that want to listen how to experience more happiness in your own life. And when I say happiness, I'm talking about an internal foundation of peace, an internal foundation of contentment, an internal foundation that is rooted in trust, knowing that whatever is happening out there, whatever is happening to you, is happening for a reason. Now, when you know that and you believe that and you trust that, there is an automatic shoulders down and a relaxed. At least I feel relaxed. Oh, you mean this challenge that I'm having in my life is really a gift? Really, universe? Now, I use the term universe. Some people say God. Some people say source, energy, higher power, spirit. It doesn't matter the word. In fact, how about that? Today's show is about how words do not have power. I know I'm going against 98% of the population. I already know. I've done the study. I've asked the questions. When I ask a group of people or even one-on-one, do words have power, the answer 100% of the time is yes. You know what? I don't think I've ever met anyone that I've asked them if do words have power and they said no. Yeah, so everyone that I've asked says, yes, words have power. And it's so interesting because I get a lot of pushback on this words have power, words don't have power, because I realize that the masses, 98% of the people believe that words do have power. But before I get into that, let me just share with you really quickly for my new listeners, because I get new people every week. But first of all, you can call in. The number to call in is area code 646-564-9619 to ask your question or speak with me live. Again, area code 646-564-9616, and just press the number 1. And you can come on the show live with me to debate or have a question. So before I go into that, let me just share with you my definition, because if I'm saying that I'm a happiness specialist, let me share with you my definition of happiness. My definition, and I know we are all as different as our fingerprints, but my definition of happiness, and I use that word happiness and peace and contentment and balance and satisfied. You know, it's a vibration. It's a vibration that I'm talking about. It's a vibration that I'm talking about. They all are the same to me. All the words, the vibration is the important, the energy is the important factor. So the words really sometimes don't coincide with the energy. So my definition of happiness is the ability to be at peace regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. That means you are standing and I've said this before hundreds of times, you're standing in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, you're in a little rowboat, the waves are crashing, the storm is brewing, the wind is blowing, the little boat is rocking back and forth, but you are at peace with all of it. You are steady and at peace with all of it in the middle of any storm. That is my definition of happiness. That is my definition of peace. And that is the practice. Happiness is a practice skill. Just like any other skill. I don't care if you're a speaker, an author, an athlete, a musician, an actor, a surgeon, a gardener, a chef. All of those things, a carpenter. Happiness is a practice skill, and the key is, what do you practice? Now, the easy answer is, when I say it's a happiness skill, so the more you commit to the practice, and it is a practice, and when you prioritize wanting to be happy or wanting to be at peace in the middle of the storm, when you really prioritize that, when that becomes number one for you, then guess what? Then the practice follows. And it's simple. It's simple. It's simply said. But the first part of the practice starts with gradually eliminating all those behaviors that have been proven to subtract from your happiness or from your peace. So it's eliminating those behaviors, and then the other part of the practice is cultivating or nourishing or embracing, scratch the embracing, cultivating those behaviors that add to happiness. Now, some of the behaviors that subtract from happiness are having expectations, blaming someone or someone else for how you feel, comparing yourself to others, worrying, a lack of acceptance of others, and also believing words have power. Attachments, this is a big one. Noticing what other people are doing, having judgments, being impatient. Judgment subtracts from happiness. Trust me. Don't think I don't still have them, but I definitely know that when I judge, then I'm also giving away my peace. I'm giving away some part of my peace. Anyway, the behaviors that add to happiness are acceptance of self and others, trusting that everything that happens is happening for a reason, including we're in the middle of this uncertainty here, including that, not taking anything personally, self-awareness, humbling the ego, recognizing the ego, and then humbling the ego. Not today, ego, not today. Choosing your focus, choosing your perspective. You know, your perspectives, I like to say that we have 360 perspectives about the same problem. You can look at the same, if you're saying that you have a problem or you're challenged, I like to say challenge. Some people don't even like that word, but I like to say challenge for me, because a challenge, when I say challenge, I'm ready to tackle it. I have a universal challenge. I don't always say thank you, but I definitely am digging in and I'm ready to challenge it. So the challenge comes from really looking in the mirror and being honest with self. Number one, being yourself, and then being honest with self. And for me, it's always, I like to ask why. Why why do certain things push my buttons? Why am I triggered by certain things? And for me, I like the dissecting. I really like to dissect the issues to find out really what it is and then rooting them up. Because, listen, I'm 65 now, and I can say that the same things that used to push my buttons, the same things that used to irritate me years ago, I could care less. There is no way I'm taking what irritated me in 2020 into 2021, at least if I have a say about it. But let me get to today's topic. Whew, and I know I have a few, listen, like I said, when I ask people, do words have power, 100% of the time I have never met someone other than my best friend now that words that people say, yes, words have power. And I want to share with a story. This happened about maybe 7 years ago that demonstrates my point. I was giving a talk. It was a talk maybe about 15 people, not that many people in a very small office. It was in my chiropractor's office. And he asked me to talk about the happiness. So I said, sure, why not? Listen, I'll talk to anyone, anywhere, from one person to a million people. I will share what I've learned to anyone. Anyway, I had a talk. It was in the evening. It was 6 o'clock in the evening when his office closed. And sure enough, people showed up, and this one woman showed up with a little girl. And when I say little girl, the little girl maybe wasn't 2. She was still in diapers. She was a toddler. And I remember thinking to myself, well, why the hell is somebody bringing a kid to a talk? Well, yeah, and then it quickly left me, because if I focused on that, I would really have been irritated in the middle of the importance of happiness talk. And she put the little girl down. The little girl was sitting on her lap, and she put the little girl down. And the little toddler started running up and down the aisles and coming to the front of the room, and she was being a toddler. This is, there was she didn't have a leash on her, so she was running throughout. And I don't know why, but I was inspired to pick her up. I picked her up. I even have a picture of me holding her. I picked her up, and I began to insult her. Yeah, you heard me. I began to insult a 2-year-old, maybe a year and a half ago, but let me just say 2 just because it's easier to say. I began to insult her. I told her, I said, you know what? I had her on my hip. I said, you know what? When you grow up, you're going to be worthless. I said, your parents are worthless. You're going to be worthless. By the way, you're stupid. You're ugly. Oh, my goodness. I let the insults fly. And I was holding on to her, and the mother was looking at me with the mouth, the eyebrows way up and the mouth hanging open, and so was everyone else in the audience. What the hell are you doing? I mean, I was really insulting this girl. I told her that she was going to be I remember saying, you're going to be a loser. You're going to amount to nothing. And while everyone was aghast and, I put the little girl down, and guess what she did? Guess what this 2-year-old did? She did exactly what she was doing before I picked her up to insult her. She did exactly what she started playing and running up and down the aisles again. My point is this. We were all programmed to believe that words have power, but this little girl wasn't programmed yet to believe that. I know I was programmed to believe that words have power and words have the ability to hurt me, or words have the ability to change my mood, or words have the ability to make me angry, or words have the ability to hurt my feelings. I was taught that really deep ingrained, and when I say it's a programming, brainwashing, I mean it is deep. I remember going to work, and if someone said, Rebecca, you look tired today, it would ruin my day. Look tired. Well, you might as well say you look bad today. You might as well say that. I mean, you look tired is not a compliment at all. And I remember that always used to I look tired. Wow. Oh. So I do, listen, that's just a very mild example, but I definitely remember hearing words that could affect me, and I also remember spewing words that I knew would hurt, I knew could hurt. Oh, yes, I haven't been a happiness specialist. I haven't been a practicing happiness specialist all my life. No, before that, I was a real bitch on wheels. Trust me, my way or the highway. Come on, you know, it was my way or the highway. A bitch on wheels with judgments, with pointing the fingers, with blaming, argumentative, arguing back and forth and back. I mean, come on. Oh, don't forget, I was always right. Unlike now. Anywho, let me get back to the topic. So back to the little girl. She went along playing, and so here we go. There is a program that tells us words are powerful. In fact, everybody that I've met who says yes, they are powerful. Yes, they are, and I totally get it. I understand. I live the programming. I've lived it. I see it, and we are taught. We can be offended. We can have our feelings hurt. I mean, look at, and one of the things that I challenge you to do, my dear audience, is just write on a piece of paper letters. Just write letters. Just look at all the letters, A, B, C, all the way down to Z. And do those letters have power? This might not be a really good argument, but do those letters have power? And then you put letters together on a piece of paper, and now all of a sudden they have power. That's really a weak example, but my point is you were programmed to believe that they have power. And my question is, who is more powerful? And when I say who is more powerful, I'm talking about who is going to have more peace. Who is going to be rooted in more peace? Somebody that is affected by words or somebody that isn't? Somebody is going to be moved by words or somebody that isn't. I was thinking something today about these seminars. You know, I've been to a lot of seminars, so many, wellness seminars, you name it. Come on, not everybody's, but seminars. And I remember during attending the seminars, the speaker is up and with the words and really encouragement, whatever those words, and they're very powerful in the moment. But how many, and people are getting up and clapping and motivated and up and hyped up. It's giving a very powerful speech. And then what happens? I mean, life-changing words, right? That, yes, I'm thinking, I'm just going to say like a Tony Robbins. Now listen, Tony Robbins is a great speaker, and I've watched some of his work, and he's very motivating and very captivating. And yes, Tony Robbins, yes, let's go, yeah. But what happens outside of that moment? What happens in a week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks? So yes, in the moment, I totally get it. And there are some people that hear that and can sustain the motivation or can sustain what they have to do. But is it based on words? Are the words the power or is the energy the power? Do the words really have power, or is it the energy that has the power? Or is it the energy? See, it's a really tricky thing. You can ask a question. Just email me. That'll be fine. You can email a question. I get a text, and can we ask a question? Yes. Or you can call in, area code 646-564-9619. Anyway, what was I saying? Okay, the words. Oh, I love it when I lose my train of thought. Okay, let's go back to the words having power. Someone or something, this world, parents, society, teaches us that words have power. You were not born thinking, knowing that words have power. You were taught that. You were programmed that. So whatever you learned, you can also unlearn. And again, I go back to, so someone says something, say, you know, I had a neighbor when I first moved here. It's interesting because the universe just throws people in my life that challenge me. And this listen, he wasn't a very, I like to say they eat lemons for breakfast. That's how I describe the sour people. He's a lemon eater, so he's usually sour. Anyway, and the gentleman that lived here before, he had a whole thing with this neighbor, so now I move in. So it's really not us, it's the neighbor. He's just a sour guy. And this guy, for some reason, well, the reason was I complained about his dog coming on the front, I'm in the middle of the forest, but his dog would come in the front part of the area. It's a huge area, but it's still my property, and he would allow his dog to crap in on my property. And it was, months, 2 months, I said, I'm going to say something. So I didn't. I actually went in and I left him a note, please don't do that, and it kept happening. Finally, I said, okay, you know what, I'm calling animal control. And sure enough, animal control came out and issued him a warning. Now, he did not like that. Older guy, big guy, looks like he could be a football player. Came over to my house, rang the doorbell, walked all the way over, rang the doorbell, and I actually came around the garage and started cursing at me like you would not believe. He called me, and this was our first, listen, I had moved in maybe 6 months before, and he never said hello. So this was our first meeting. This was our first conversation. And this guy called me every name in the book. Not only called me that, was yelling at me, this big guy yelling down at me, and you're crazy, and you know, I can't even remember all the things that he said, but it was very insulting. It was highly insulting. And that was the first time in my life, 3 years ago, that I listened to someone screaming at me. Number one, I didn't take it personally. Number two, I almost started laughing. That would have not have been good. You don't want to start laughing when people are really irate. Then it makes them even madder. I know that because I used to be one of those irate people. And I just listened to him. I listened it was probably at least 5 minutes, and he was getting no reaction. Well, he said he was going to sue me, too. I'm going to sue you. You're crazy lady, bitch. I mean, and words worse than that I will not repeat. But I just kept looking at him, and then when he was finished, because he was getting nothing from me, he wasn't getting any anger. I wasn't taking it personally. I just looked at him. I looked at him like he was complimenting me. It was really odd, because I had been practicing years prior to that with not allowing words to have power. I mean, little practice, just words don't have power, And just knowing that. And then, in fact, this story when I picked up the little girl, that happened way before this guy was yelling at me. And I just stood there and listened, and I remember thinking, wow, these words that he's saying have absolutely no effect. None. It was one of the most powerful times in my own life that, and I remember thinking, number one, it wasn't personal. All of those things that he said to me, they're never personal. Whatever word somebody uses directed at you, I don't care if they call your name, it's never personal. Number two, all of those things that he was saying to me, I knew that he wasn't happy. Nobody with any kind of peace can display behavior like that. The other thing I knew that, what does the man with the hump in his back want more than anything else? I've talked about this before. They want you to have a hump too. So this man really, what would have given him so much pleasure is if I got on his level, I'm not going to say up to his level or down to his level, but got on his level and gave him some juice back. Don't think that I can't do that. Don't think that I can't fight and say something back to somebody who's insulting me. That's easy for me to do. It's easy for me to go in and insult someone. But I said nothing. I said nothing to him. And finally he ran out of gas. When you're screaming at somebody and you're calling them names and you're insulting them and they give you absolutely nothing, you eventually run out of gas. So he ran out of gas, and I told him to have a good day. And that was my way of giving him a little kick in the you-know-what. But that's what happened. So when I say words have no power, this when I say that, know that you were taught that words have power. So it's up to the individual. And if some people really, how would I say this? Not have comfort, but they want to believe that words have power. I mean, if words have no power, then what? They really want to believe that, and I get it because I get so much kickback from this words have no power thing. You just don't know. I get kickback, I get pushback because the words have power for them. And just because words have power for someone else, that doesn't mean that they have power for me. Now, let me go back. Let me say this. 98% of the people do believe that words have power, but I'm here to tell you that words, for me, do not have power. Energy is very powerful. Let me just say this. I've had a lot of guys tell me they love me. A lot. And I used to, okay, you love me, and I used to believe the word. I used to believe that word, that I love you was powerful. But I'm here to tell you at 65, you telling me you love me it means absolutely nothing. Now, if you show me, then that's a different thing. I mean, I have to have evidence. I have a gentleman now that lives in my area, and we, fishing buddies, and Eli, I love you, and I really love you, I love you, and I love you too. But there's no power in it. There's no evidence of it. There's no proof of it. So, energy has power. Words don't. Now, listen, it's my personal practice. It's my personal practice because if words had power, then that meant that whatever words that were thrown at me, then I'm going to feel a certain way. I'm going to feel good. I'm going to feel bad. And guess what? It is all because of someone else. It's all because of what someone else did or what not did. It's all because of what someone else said. I feel good about myself because of what someone else says to me? No. My stability, my foundation, my wholeness, my love for self all comes from the universe. The universe. Now, the universe loves me definitely. I feel that vibration because I'm totally accepted. I'm totally accepted by the universe without any criticism, without any judgment, without any, you need to change this. You need to do something different. I don't get that. I don't get that from people. You can tell me that you love me, but it's like you can tell me that, but it's not sticking. I mean, I may see evidence. I'd like to see evidence, but you telling me it's just like you can't compliment me and you can't insult me. The compliments you can't compliment. I mean, you can compliment me, but thank you for the compliment. And I'm going to feel a certain way because of your compliment. No, I feel a certain way about myself because of what I practice. Because if I didn't, that means that what you felt about me, or what you said to me, or what you did to me, then I'm going to feel different based on something outside of myself. based on someone else outside of myself. So, yeah, thank you for the compliment, but you're not. Insults. Same with insults. You can insult me and you can compliment me. It's not going to mean a thing because I practice not allowing any words to have power. And again, it wasn't an overnight practice. This took years and years and years. But if you were taught that words are powerful, guess what? Words will be powerful. If you want words to be powerful, if you really think if you really think and you believe, then guess what? Words will have power. And I'm also here to tell you that if you do that and you practice that and you believe that, then you will be susceptible to all words at any time. You will be susceptible. It's just like the wind. It's just like the weather changing. So you're going to be feeling a certain way based on what someone says or doesn't say to you. I don't know about you, but I don't think that's a very powerful place to live. But that's just me. So again, who taught you words were powerful? Words are not powerful. And I know I'm bucking up against the system. I know that the majority think that they are powerful, but that's okay. Hold on. I'm just reading my notes really quick. Holding on to words are powerful. Holding on to words. Now, if you really believe that words are powerful, and I know most do, then holding on to that belief is very, very, very difficult to let go of. It's very difficult to let go of deep program beliefs, and I get it. But I'm here to tell you that this man insulted me, screamed at me at the top of his lungs, and I felt nothing. That is one of my, talk about accomplishments. Personal growth accomplishment is what I'm talking about. It's one of my favorite stories. It's almost magical. Holding on that words are powerful, you're giving power to the words. You're giving your power to the words. You don't have to agree. You don't have to agree with me. I'm just sharing my perspective. Your energy is powerful. So let me say this. In 2012, I didn't speak for 40 days. I went to a retreat with Dr. Michael Beckwith in The Secret. And he gave a retreat, and the retreat gave the option of speaking or not speaking during the retreat. You can talk or not talk. But interestingly enough, all of the meals, and there was about 200 people, all of the meals were served in this big room, and the rule was no talking. So if you can imagine 200 people in a huge hall and nobody's talking during breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I was fascinated, and that really started my journey and my search and my practice that words are not powerful and energy is, because it could feel the energy. And that's why that's not why I wanted to, but I really wanted to continue that. And for 40 days, I did not speak. Now, I wrote notes. Of course, I had to communicate with notes. But speaking, and what did I learn? I learned that my energy could communicate with others. I learned that my energy, my vibration communicated. Oh, you can communicate with your vibration. Easy. In fact, you don't even need the words. You don't need the words. All I'm saying here with the topic of words are not powerful, is just to sit on that and digest that, and maybe if you're interested, practice with small words. Because if you're insulted or offended or someone can hurt your feelings, guess what? This could be the practice. This could be the practice for you to, how do you feel about self? How do you feel in this moment? Why am I giving away how I feel? Why am I letting someone else determine how I feel? Why am I letting someone else offend me? I don't know about that, but this I'm offended. It's almost as bad as you disrespected me. Well, it's on the same thing. You disrespected me. I'm offended. It's all I'm asking is that you maybe take a second look. Maybe think about it. Question the programming. Question the programming. Do you want, or maybe there are people that are okay with words being powerful in their lives. That means that whatever words come out there, you are going to be affected by that. Because I know that the universe is not affected by words. The universe is affected by energy. Let me see, blah, blah, energy is powerful. I'm just looking at my notes. Oh, I have my best friend. It's so interesting. He says some things about himself that not always, but I used to question. He would tell me, now this is a man telling me, he says, I'm not doing that. I'm too much of a bitch to do that. I'm too scary. I'm not going to do that. I mean, it's so many insults to self, but he says it so lightly that's another reason that, not another reason, but another way that I've seen someone else practice that words don't mean anything, because one of the things he's even taught his daughter not to be insulted or bothered by anybody calling her names. I mean, I remember the story. He said at a very young age he would insult her on purpose. I know this is way out there. This is way out training and for a parent, but he would insult her on purpose, talking about you got a big nose, you got big lips, you're skinny. He would insult her on purpose because she's going to go out in the world and get insulted. She's going to go, this is his thinking. She's going to go out in the world and people are going to say a lot worse, or not a lot worse, but it's going to say things. And so this was his way of teaching her that words are not powerful. I don't know. I thought that was, and she's 22 now, I thought that was a really powerful thing. So at 22, this young girl cannot be insulted at all. Now, I'm a little bit older. I had to learn it a lot differently and learn it the hard way. But that's what I'm saying. So the programming is real. The programming the belief is deep. So my question to you is, when you believe, this is my final question, when you believe words are powerful, how does that make you feel when you hear words that bother you, or that trigger you, or that hurt your feelings? When you believe words are powerful, and you believe words have power, can you absolutely say unequivocally that is the truth? Words have power. Look at a word. Write it out. Words, I mean, is that the truth? And I'm here to say that it's not the truth. The programming is real, but the words themselves having the power is not. I know I'm going to get a lot of email and a flack on this one, but that's okay. And if you don't have to agree with me, but I'm telling you, one of the practice of letting go of this words have power have brought so much more peace, so much more, so much more calmness, so much more that I don't even have. Here we go. I don't even have the words to explain to you how peaceful that is. Giving up, letting go of that belief that words have power. That's today's show. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality, the truth about happiness. You can follow me on Twitter at RL Norrington. LinkedIn, my Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. Somebody's going to finish this website for me one of these days, hopefully before the end of the year. My YouTube channel, I have a few videos on YouTube. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be purchased on Amazon. And my second book, Program for Happiness, is going to have a chapter. It's going to have a chapter on words not having any power. And until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who you are. You're a physical extension of the universe. You're always evolving, and you're always changing. You're always growing. Love is patient, and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality with yours truly, Rebecca Lynn Norrington, happiness specialist of the world. Have a conscious week, and remember, happiness is a practice skill. Your experience in every moment reflects on what you practice. Have a great week.
Yeah. Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's the new experience. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one. Reality Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality Spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Get real. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Reality Spirituality.